Hello, loves. We are live, and I am going to be speaking with my good friend and amazing person, individual, healing guide. Her name is Jenny Jam Fitness. So today we are going to talk about healing for the Black woman. So when she comes in, I will invite her to the conversation, and then we can get started. Are y'all having a beautiful day? I am. Charlotte is lovely today, and so I'm definitely looking forward to getting out once I have my conversation with Jenny Jam, which y'all are going to love, about healing for the Black woman, okay? And then afterwards, I am going to take the town and get out into the beautiful sun. What are y'all up to? Oh, here's Jenny. Let me invite her in. Oh, Arizona. Hey, Arizona. That's nice. I don't think I've been there. Oh, there's my girl. Hello, Jenny.
Hello, Desiree.
Oh, not my whole name. Gee.
Desiree!
Oh, am I in trouble?
Right?
How are you?
First, middle, and last name. That's when you know you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Um,
Yes.
Jenny is joining us from JAM, Jamaica, AIC, Jamaica. Yeah.
Different spelling. He had to get in the, what was it,
He
the A or
whispered
I?
the A at the end.
A-M. Yeah. He has to scream in the A.
Yeah,
I-C-A, yeah.
yeah. It's pretty embarrassing. Welcome, welcome. How are you?
Thank
Love.
you. I'm good. Very warm. Very
Mm,
warm. But good. Good.
mm.
Happy to be here amongst nature. I'm up in the country, so it's just all green everywhere, sunshine, all of that.
Yes, I love that. I'll come back. Actually, my friend who just joined the live, she was just asking me, interrogating me, Alexis, to see when I'm going back to Jamaica.
Mhm.
But yeah, she definitely put that back in my head, and I need to go back. So,
Yeah. So next week?
oh yeah, sure, I'll be there. Yeah. But today we are talking about healing for the Black woman, and the reason why I wanted to have this conversation is because Janine is someone who I admire so much because for a myriad of reasons, but Jen, hmm, I would say that she deeply dedicates herself, especially as it regards to healing in many, many different modalities. And
Mm.
so it's really important that when we have the opportunities to, we seek healing from whatever it is that is no longer serving us. And that may show up differently at different times. And what we need in one moment of our lives is going to be completely different. And so just listening and honoring where we are in the particular moment, um, and just listening to where we need to hold space for ourselves. And I
Mhm.
Jenny absolutely does that, and so that's why I wanted to bring her
I
on.
Thank you. I try. I try.
Yes, you do.
I do. I do.
Yes,
We do.
yes. So I just want to start off, let you introduce yourself, and then I'll introduce myself after.
Sweet. Hello. I am Jenny, like Desi said, of Jenny Jam Fitness. I advocate for the health and wellness of Black women, mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically, just through the mediums of yoga, dance, movement, exercise. And I just continue to share the tips and tools and resources and strategies that I've learned so far along my healing journey with other women, putting it together in courses or just, sharing information, sharing things that I come up on just, on social media. I have a YouTube channel also that I utilize most of the time
Mhm.
to share as well. So yes, that's what I do. Just try to uplift the vibration of the Black community
Yeah,
through healing Black women.
Yes, yes, yes. And she does it well.
Thank you.
Yes. And so I am Desiree. I am a holistic doula, meditation teacher, yoga teacher, like a holistic wellness lifestyle guide. I'm also a sex doula. My background is in global supply chain management. Ooh.
Every time you say sexual, I'm like, ooh, yeah.
Ooh. Yes. Um, my background is in global supply chain management, and so I just find that my role in this world is to guide people to become the best version of themselves for themselves in like whatever modality that may be. And that is for companies, organizations, individuals, whomever is seeking to be better. Not perfect, but better. So that is what
Yeah.
I do. So let's get started.
Beautiful.
So I have many questions, but I think what would be helpful for the folks is to kind of walk us through some of your healing journey and like when did that start for you? When did you have the first inkling to say, you know, I think it's time that I make a concerted effort to start looking at my life in a way that requires healing?
Mm, mm. I feel like we've talked about this question before, and I feel like I start somewhere and I'm like, no, it started earlier than that. But I
Mm.
wasn't aware that it started earlier than that. Like I knew that I was so right after college, in college I did a lot of dancing, so a lot of movement, a lot of socializing, like on a dance team, you're always around people, always socializing. And then after that, everything kind of just stopped when I moved to Pennsylvania, and it was like in the middle of nowhere, and I didn't have a car, and I was like 2 hours from New York. Huh?
I don't remember you moving to Pennsylvania at all.
Yeah, right after college, I was like, I don't want to go back home. So the guy I was dating at the time, I was like, can I just live with you? And they were
Yeah.
like, sure. So it was in Pennsylvania. It was in like Allentown, Pennsylvania. And yeah,
I
and
have
to get
such
to
a
the
story
bus,
for that. I got to tell you about that later, but yes.
okay. Yeah, Allentown, Pennsylvania. I didn't have a car, so I couldn't easily get to the bus stop to get to family, which was 2 hours in New York City, and I didn't know anybody in the town. And I didn't have a job, so I felt like everything felt like I had no purpose. Like I just went through all of this schooling for no reason. I felt like I had no purpose. I felt like there was no reason for me to really be here. I was really depressed and alone. And I knew that like I wasn't used to feeling like that. So I was like, I don't like feeling like this. What can I do to get myself out of this state?
Hmm.
So at that time, I wasn't aware that I was like actually moving towards something that would uplift my vibration. So that's when I got my puppy, Milo, and I was like, this is great. Like I have somebody to be with all the time and just like training him and walking him, because I was also not moving my body anymore because I didn't feel like I had a reason to. So I was gaining a little bit of weight. Like it was just when someone saw a picture of me and they're like, is she pregnant? And I was like, oh, okay. I need to start working out. I need to start moving. And also now, like realizing how important movement is for your mindset and for just your emotional wellness. So that's, I think, when it like actually started, and I was like knowing that I needed to lift myself out of certain states that were just, at a lower vibration. And I know it's not a linear journey, so it just goes up and down, up and down, up and down. But I think for me, thinking back, that's when it really started. And then when it really hit me was when I had an anxiety attack in 2018, like in the beginning of the year, because I felt like I was so misaligned that my mind and my body and my spirit were just like, you need to stop and pay attention to what you're really doing and how you're really continuing to live your life.
Mm.
So at that point, I started asking myself the question, like, what do you want? Because I feel like so many of us are just grow up being told what we want and being told
Yeah.
what we need to do and what we should do and how we should do it, how we should be. So it was just like, no, what do you want? And I was like, I never really thought about that question. Like, what do I want? So that year kind of just sparked my journey of asking myself, what do I want out of life? Like, how do I want to feel? Who do I want to be around? What do I want to listen to? What do I want to do with my body and things like that. So that was when it really started. And after that, it was just being more aware of who I let into my space, being more aware of what I was reading or listening to. So not a whole lot of news, not a whole lot of negativity or like gossip and all those things that kind of just, you think it elevates you, but it really is bringing you down on the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's deceiving in that way. So that's when I really started. And then the journey was kind of slow, up and down, confusing. You know, at first when you start, you don't know what you're doing. And then the pandemic was really like, okay, what are you doing with your life? Like you're stuck inside with yourself all the time. And you have to like, not have to, because I was like, everybody's gonna like come out of the pandemic a new person and healing and all this. And no. So it was just being aware of where I was living within myself. So the pandemic forced me to really like analyze that and just like, what do you want? Where are you going? How do you want to interact with other people? How do you want to live financially? How do you want to just connect with yourself, you
Yeah.
know? So I think, yeah, definitely the pandemic really blew it wide open for me.
Amazing. And that's definitely a journey. And usually, while you're in the journey, you're not realizing that you're actively healing, right? It's like it's just like you're doing. So you may not realize, oh, wait a minute, I was doing XYZ so I can feel differently. Or it's um, more of a afterthought that we have like later on.
Yeah, because technically we're always healing. Like your body's always healing itself. It's just the awareness of it that will, you know, I guess set up the trajectory for the pace of your healing and the depth and the quality of your healing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're always healing.
Always. And good. You walked right into my next question, which is I was speaking to someone the other day, and they were bringing up this idea that um, once something is healed, you leave it, you leave it, you leave it, you never touch it again. But then there's also this idea that you can be healed and healing simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, we have gone through a particular issue in our lives, and it's like, once that's done, it's done, it's done. It's like, no, it may show up and manifest in different ways later on, right? So, maybe when I was 16, I used to be like, I'm over the fact that my dad wasn't around, right? At 16, 17, 18, I thought I was cool. You know, I thought, and one of my friends, she would big me up. She's like, you don't act like you have daddy issues or anything.
Wow.
Yeah. So in my mind, I thought I was Gucci Bandana. And I come to realize that it will show up and manifest in different ways. Like later on in life, I may realize, oh, I am bothered that he didn't sign the birth certificate or something like that, right? But to my younger mind, I thought I was healed. Don't touch that wound. It's fine. We don't need to go to that place and space any further.
Mm-hmm.
But we may not realize that we can be healed from an aspect of something and still need continuous healing from another aspect of that. So, what is like a play? Do you understand that thought pattern? And then, how have you seen that show up in your life?
um, it's funny that you use that exact example because I literally just went through
Oh,
this like yesterday.
what?
Yeah, like yesterday morning. I was like struggling with emotions, dealing with the like feeling abandoned by my birth father.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still learning along this healing journey, and I'm not sure if like it's hard for me to use the word healed because I feel like nothing is ever really healed. It's in the process of healing, but it's just in a different state at different times. Because I went through the same thing. Like in my teens, I was just like, yeah, I don't need you. You abandoned me when I was young. So, just stick with that since that's what you really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then my birth father came back into my life a couple months ago. and like reopened new wounds again. And I was like, oh, but I was excited because it was like, oh, now you have this opportunity to like maybe meet him in person and talk to him and get to know him so that you can also get to know different aspects of yourself. So I was like, okay, great. This will be great for just my healing journey and life in general.
Yeah.
And then the communication kind of stopped. It was like paused, and I saw that he read the messages but just didn't answer. And I was like, okay. And then I sent another one and was like, okay. And then I sent another one and it was just like the end one. It was like, if you're not ready for this relationship, I'd rather you just say that. And I saw that that was read but not answered. So then that brought up feelings all over again. And I was like,
Yeah.
like reopening the wounds of feeling reabandoned and unloved and unwanted, and had to deal with all of that all over again. But I think that like you think it's healed and then you realize that it's not. So you have to just take a few steps back. But now I have the tools to navigate that a little bit better. So I was like, okay, I had to do a release and just cry a little bit about it and allow my inner child to feel sad and to feel disappointed and to feel angry that, you know, this was started and then just ended so abruptly again.
Right.
And then I had to just like walk her through it and be like, maybe this isn't the time, maybe he's not ready. And you'd rather someone show you who they are up front than to like be misled. And then deal with that later on down the line once you're building, you know, a stronger bond. So I just had to, like, I was able to be aware of how I was feeling and be aware that it wasn't, like, it wasn't all of me. It was a part of me, and it was my inner child. And my therapist is actually really good at that. It's like, is this all of you or is this a part of you? And you're allowed to, you know, just allow space for different parts of you to feel different things. So I was like, okay.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, I was like, I like that. Because then, you know, when you feel something and it just feels overwhelming and
Yes.
like, this is how I feel. And it's like,
Yes.
no, that's how a part of you feels.
Oh my God, that is such a freeing thought.
Yeah.
I love that, you know,
Yeah.
because my mind instantly goes to math, right? And so if I'm looking at if the full 100% of me feels a type of way, that means the entire pie of Desiree feels that type of way. But if the, you know, 20% of my inner child feels this way, you know, that means only a portion of 20% of the full scope of Desiree feels that way, which is a totally different experience than the entire pie of myself feeling such a way.
Right.
That is something.
Magical. Then you don't get overwhelmed by all these
Don't get
feelings.
overwhelmed.
And you can actually take a step back and be like, okay, that's what you're feeling, and like therapize yourself in a way. You know, it was just a beautiful moment of reparenting for me. It was just like, okay, now I'm going to keep me safe and remind myself that I'm never abandoned or unloved or unwanted, because I'm here loving myself and wanting myself and, you know, showing up for myself every day. So literally yesterday, I was like crying. And then like 10 minutes later, I was like, that was great. Like that was a great therapy session with me and my inner child and, you know, just all of me.
That's magical. I am actually going to remember that one. That is a very important perspective to have. That's a very important perspective to have, and I feel released from that. Yeah.
Good.
That's
Good.
good. Don't be having me on these like Instagram streets up here, you know. Listed.
I mean, whatever comes. You gotta allow it.
Yeah.
Allow all of you to show up.
Yes, of course, of course. That's a powerful portion.
Yeah, and it was super powerful for me because I feel like I grew up hiding so much of myself because I was told that I was this way and that I needed to be this way. So the other parts had to be pushed down and suppressed and hidden. So now it's just like relearning to allow those parts to show up, and then knowing how to deal with those parts, or not deal with, but knowing how to allow space for them and show them love and compassion, but also not letting them run the show. Like,
Exactly.
no, I run this. Okay, you can be here. I accept you for being here, but I run this.
And that's actually helpful. You know, it's interesting. I actually watch I don't know why, but I watch a lot of documentaries on multiple personality disorder, right?
Mm.
And that is actually how folks with that condition manage through the world. They have to speak to the different parts of themselves in order to say, you know, Susan, I have this. Billy, we're okay. We don't need that in this moment. And that's how they are able to manage more in this earthly world, right? So that's an excellent point. And I really deeply feel like those with multiple personality disorder are very similar, if to all of us. Like we all are like that. It's just
Hmm.
expressing in a magnified way because of the severe trauma that they typically experience. But all of us are like that, right? Our inner child comes out at certain times. Our protective person comes out at different times. Our like loving, just like love me up, oh my God, that person may come out at a different time. So all of us are like that. So it's better
Hmm.
to see them much like ourselves rather than like that they're different or strange or crazy. It's like, no, they're
Yeah.
experiencing it at a heightened level because of XYZ.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
the way your therapist shared how to manage those thoughts is brilliant, and I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I feel like I go through that with anger. Like I still don't really allow my angry
Yeah.
side to show up because I don't want it to. I think just from experience, you know, like you see something happen and then you hold on to that experience and you think that that's how it's going to be for you. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't allow yourself to go there. So I have it an issue with, but I struggle to allow like my angry side to come out. And my cousin and I have been talking about this. He's like, you know, some people just have a dirty side.
Mm-hmm.
I want a dirty side. I was like, I want
Everybody
that.
has one. You have one.
But it doesn't naturally come out because I'm just so used to like years and years and years of just like reining her in and like
Yeah.
suppressing her. So I'm trying to like just allow that to be like if I'm angry, be angry, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just not living in that state, but allowing it to be there so that I can learn from it.
Yeah. Allow her to go on.
Yes. Yes.
Um, yeah, my dirty side has to be Jamaican for sure. um, So, okay, that was an excellent point that you shared so far. I'm also interested to know what are your favorite healing modalities, right? We know so many different ways to heal, right? Of course, the common one in American society is therapy, but we also have things like Reiki, we have dance, we have womb dance healing, we have yoni steams, we have talking. We have people who just cry in a room with friends. We have people who just laugh in a room with friends. We have people who do psychedelics. We have people who do, you know, all these different modalities that one can touch in order to heal different facets of ourselves. And I was watching something so beautiful yesterday, and I'll send it to you now that I think about it. But was this woman, and she was basically explaining, it's like we have all the healing already inside of us. And so every when we heal, we feel like a certain chemical comes out of our body, but that chemical was already in our body in order for it to be released. And so
Mm-hmm.
if we call upon things that are healing, like meditation or breath work or sound healing, all of these different things, then these are ways that we can heal ourselves without having to always constantly look for external places to receive that healing. So I'm interested in like what are some of your favorite, because there are massive amounts of ways to
So
heal.
many.
I mean, massive amounts of ways. And even you and I have been, yes, a plethora. You and I have been studying healing work for years. And I don't even think we've even remotely scratched the surface of all the places and depths that we can go within the healing space. It's a beautiful thing to have because that lets people know that you don't have to feel in a way.
Sorry, there's a dog right outside my window.
um, you don't have to heal in the typical way. If you don't feel connected to therapy, boom, there's 500 other ways that you can heal. So
Yeah. And there's so many different kinds of therapy too.
yeah,
Talking one-on-one.
like just talk or cognitive behavioral therapy or
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, that's such a good point. Just that there's so many ways, and it's just not being aware that there are all these ways that we can heal, like having all these tools. And I'm still learning and trying different ways as I have, developed ones that I gravitate towards and that I try to teach people and share. Um, but for me, I guess just always growing up moving and being a dancer,
Mhm.
movement therapy, like just movement in general, just moving everything that's stagnant throughout the body is important for me. Like I just finished a yoga session and I feel so much different this morning because I haven't done it for a couple of days. So I was just like, I'm on vacation. I'm not going to do it. And just doing 30 minutes of it this morning, it just like opens up so many different channels. And I just feel lighter and more aware and more present within my body and the world around me.
Mhm.
So definitely movement is one of them. And I've gone through a few courses that just learning different healing modalities. And I've kind of like handpicked and put together a bunch of them as my rising ritual. So when I wake up, it's just breathing. So breath work, we talk about this all the time. Like breath work is like absolutely transformative,
So
like for everything.
mm-hmm.
So breath work for sure. So I get up and I do a couple of breathing. So I do like fire breath and then alternate nostril breathing just to clear my
Can you
mind.
explain for those who don't know what fire breath is and alternate nostril breathing?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So fire breath, or I think it's called kapabati.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Alabati.
yeah, so it's just it's an energizing breath that you focus on short, quick exhales. So your body's gonna naturally inhale, but you focus on short, quick exhales, and it's through the nose. Sit up nice and tall, and it's just like right. So it just enlivens everything in your body, and I count them. I try to do 100. Just as I wake up, I do 100 of those just to wake up my mind, my body, my spirit. Show my body that I'm alive and awake and thankful for being able to breathe. And then I do alternate nostril, which is like right thumb on your right nostril. I didn't know that was involved. Like you put your peace fingers on your third eye, yeah, and you hold your right nostril, inhale through the left, and then block it with your ring finger, and then exhale through the right. And then you inhale through the right, block both, open the left, exhale, and that's one.
That's an interesting one. Like the way you had your fingers positioned was kind of strange for me. I do like the fingers on the third eye,
Mm-hmm.
but with the pinky, like my pinky does something strange when
Yeah, it's a little awkward. It's a
it's
little
a little
awkward.
awkward. So I usually do it differently. So like this, but I
Mm-hmm.
like the third eye portion as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I try to do 5 rounds of those. Usually it's 5 to 10, but I feel like it's hard to sit there and do so many of them.
Hmm.
So
And
I do
that's
that to energize, huh?
and I was just explaining that that's for cleansing.
Yes, for cleansing, clarity, connection to your intuition. Just left and right helps to clear your mind, clear everything that's going on up here. So I do the energizing and then the clearing, and
Also
then
balancing. Yeah.
balance. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All of that good stuff.
Yes.
And then I'll do journaling. So just getting my thoughts out, connecting with myself. I'm actually leading a journaling session coming up. So I was like excited to do, but just getting into like all these different things. And the mindset challenge that I did, it was 10 days and it was these 10 things that I do within my rising ritual, just explaining the benefits of all of them. So journaling, I've always journaled. Like, it goes from like diary to like, dear diary, this is what happened today, to like journaling, which is like just processing through your emotions, your feelings, things that are confusing for you, just writing your affirmations. And it's just your way to connect and support yourself.
Mhm.
you know. And then there's so many ways to do all of these things too. Like there's so much breath work, like techniques, and there's so many journaling prompts that you can use. So I do journaling, I do visualizations. So just envisioning my life and what I want for my life. And then setting my intention for the day is another thing, just intention and the power of intention. And then what else is there? And then after that, yeah, I'll do some movement. So either yoga or a workout, just to tap into my internal strength, my internal power, motivate myself. Because I think that a lot of people, even me yesterday, like it goes back and forth. Like we were saying, it's not linear. So motivation isn't something that will just come to you. You have to start doing, and then the motivation will show up. And then you can continue doing. So that's what today was. It was like just motivation to move. And I knew that I had to actually move to like ignite that motivation, which I love what you were saying before about we have all of this within us. It just needs to be ignited.
Yeah.
All of these healing modalities are catalysts for it, like to bring that out of you, to, you know, so you heal yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. And then meditation, I usually end with the meditation. Yeah, so those are a few that I do, but I'd love to try Reiki, and cupping, and yoni steam. Those are like top 3 that are like on my list today. I need to.
Yeah, I am interested in Reiki as well. I've been looking for a Reiki healer that I feel called to, and I feel I'm very particular about energy. So I'm looking for that in this particular moment, but not really looking, but like just calling out into the universe, and that person will come to me. Where I mess up is me going out to search for it. That's where I mess up. And, yeah, so this is something that I realized. But I always knew, ever since I became a doula, I was like, ooh, I'm interested in Reiki as well. But I was just doing too many classes and learning. It's like, it's too much. But like more and more closer to that, and how that may show up in my life. And the cupping, I used to work in like Korea and Japan and all those places, and they cup religiously. Like all the time, you'll just be walking down the street, and not everybody,
Bruises.
they have all of the cupping marks on their back. And you see that like all the time everywhere. And they in the spas there, everybody is very, very, very naked. And so all you see is everybody's back is just full of these
very, very, very naked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna do cupping before I went to the Bahamas, but I didn't want to like have the and the redness on my back.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a part of the culture for that culture, so
yeah,
it wasn't like abnormal. Exactly. But for those who don't know, can you explain what cupping is?
I'm like, do I even know? I worked in a spa for like a quick minute, right before the pandemic. Yeah, I was not like I was like a helper around the spa, like helping organize needles for acupuncture.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, checking in clients. But I'm actually, so the woman that suggested cupping to me, I had a reading with her, and she was saying that I'm a Leo, so I'm fire energy. So there's somewhere along the way, or like over time, there was like a chronic outage of my fire, basically. And she suggested cupping to reignite that fire within me. So I was like, oh, that's an interesting point. So I'm like, I don't know. I know how it works, I guess. Well, you have the plastic cup, and I've never actually seen it done. Yeah, they use plastic there. It was like hard plastic, and there's fire that goes over it, and it like suctions to your skin, and it's supposed to release toxins in your body that way. But yeah, that's what they use. It was like I don't know what the name of the plastic was.
Yeah, but a hard plastic.
Yeah, but they didn't have glass ones there.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Wow. I Yeah, I don't know enough about that. I just know like exactly what you just said. It has something to do with like lymphatic drainage, and I know that there's fire, and they put it in the cup, and then they put it on you. So,
Yes, that is also all that I know.
um, this girl that I know, she is a cupping. She's an acupuncturist, but also does cupping.
Yeah, usually they pair it together.
Yeah, so I need to ask her like, what is this doing?
Yeah.
And then you mentioned a third thing. Oh, yoni steaming that you wanted to,
Hmm.
well,
Hmm.
as a form of healing.
Yes.
Tell me
I
more.
didn't I didn't get to actually go to the yoni spa that you suggested when I was in Oakland.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I didn't get to go there, but I'm sure I'll be back in Oakland,
yeah.
and that will be top of the list to do that over there. But yeah, I've just always wanted to. So I guess I was like more open to womb healing
Mm-hmm.
and my connection to my womb, and that like starting an actual womb journey a few years ago, kind of like when as I was stuck inside during the pandemic. So about 3 years ago, I did like a womb session with a friend, and there was like womb dancing, womb meditation,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then just breath work and journaling, and it was so powerful. And I was like, okay, this is something that I need to connect with, and I need to explore more of.
Definitely.
Um, yeah, and the yoni steam was something that she actually like brought up and suggested, and I've been hearing about it, so many good things about it, especially like from you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely been something I want to try. But if you want to, like, because you've done it, so if you want to explain more about what a yoni steam is.
Yeah, so yoni steaming is an ancient practice. Come now, come now. Okay. It's an
Oh, I'm
ancient,
getting excited.
right. I was like, it's time.
Yay, yoni steam, do it.
Um, Yoni steam is an ancient practice, right? This has been done in many ancient cultures. We're speaking of China, we're speaking of Korea, we're speaking of Africa, we're speaking of the indigenous people of Central America, Mexico, etc. So it is a practice where you essentially sit over steam, right? But you're not intending to burn yourself. So, of course, we are cognizant of the temperature of the steam, and you would place herbs in the steam. And as the herbs are being steamed, it's obviously sending the medicine of the herbs up into your vaginal canal and womb. And so the idea is to be a releasing, just like we steam our face and like we release. It is the same kind of concept as that. And the addition of the herbs is adding medicine to that release. So that can be like very healing, but it's also a time where we're being very intentional about healing in the way. So you're taking dedicated time to focus on your yoni, right? And we don't really do that
Yeah.
too often, right? In society, there's very little times where folks are, I think now people are a lot more cognizant, but before maybe not,
Mhm.
um, where they're cognizant of like, okay, I need to take time to focus on this place that has released, it has created life, it has gone through traumas perhaps. And so what I find is helpful is also taking that time to journal, to listen to beautiful music or frequencies. Sometimes I listen to comedy while I do it if I needed to laugh. I love comedy, by the way. But
Me too. Me too.
yes, so yeah, it's a beautiful time to connect in those ways and release whatever it is. Just taking that time to dedicate to yourself, to your yoni, having that connection can be really powerful and healing for whoever may need it. There's also lingam steaming as well. That's not so popular, but lingam means penis. Uh,
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that was a thing.
yeah, not popular, but yeah, that's a thing. Um, Yeah.
Mhm.
So, what else? What else? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's all I want to say about you understand me?
Yeah, it's a good amount. And then I think like two other modalities popped up into my head that I also have used, which is another one that's in my rising ritual is reading and just like getting a different perspective of things. I read a lot of just like healing books. Like this is the one that I'm reading currently. It's just getting into like shadow work and self-love.
Oh, what's shadow work for those who do not know?
Yeah, so shadow work is just like we were talking about, all the parts of ourselves that we suppress and deny. It's just giving, like bringing those parts to light so they can heal.
Yeah,
So it's all the parts that we were taught to be ashamed of, you know, or just like not proud of, and to hide. It's just bringing light to those parts and accepting those parts so that they can heal.
exactly.
But yeah, so and within the shadow work also, psychedelics have helped. So I've done mushrooms a couple times, and it was just like if you're not ready for shadow work, I wouldn't suggest like doing a mushroom, like a full mushroom trip. What'd you say?
I said that will turn it up very quickly, and it will. I'm
Yes.
sure. I have not done psychedelics for clarification. And that's just because of, and not just because, but family history. It doesn't work well with the Sprout family. But
Interesting.
hmm
Yeah. But it was just yeah, it's intense. It's very intense. It's very, very intense. But it helped me through a lot. So it's like the things that you don't want to face. So like shadow work, all the things that we suppress, the things that you don't want to face, it forces it up to the surface. And I think you need to have a good guide, or you need to have a couple of like tools in your, you know, handy dandy kit to bring it out in order to bring yourself through that process. So it brings it all up to the surface and you kind of face it. So I like facing it, having it there, just like recognizing it, and being able to step back and recognizing that that's not all of you. These are just parts
exactly.
that are coming up. And then it just gives you a different perspective on it. And then have had like so many of these moments where it's just like, oh, like that's why this happened, and that's why I felt this way, and this is what I need to do now. So it just pushes you through this dark tunnel, and then on the other side you're like, oh, okay, so all right, so after crying for 5 hours, now I understand why I had to go through that. So it's just like I've done that a few times, but I love it. Like at first I was like, this is intense, this is insane, I'm never doing it again. But I did it a couple of times, but doing like a lesser amount so that you are more cognizant of what you're walking into and what you're going through.
Yeah, I
But
would
but yeah.
absolutely say that those who are not connected to self and connected to source, I would not recommend psychedelics because that will tear you up.
Yeah.
uh, Not
And
that
then that's when you have the
I,
bad trips and
yeah. But I was just watching a documentary yesterday on this, and that is my awareness and knowledge of psychedelics is through other people's experiences, and just watching because it's very interesting to see like all of these experiences that people are having. I have no interest in it, but I think that there's a deep value in it if you are ready, if your
yeah.
mind can handle that, if you have done some level of work. But otherwise, it will tear you up. It will.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people are ready for that. And I think a lot of people use it as like
It's
not
like
for healing purposes, like just to have like a crazy trip and see crazy things, and that's not really
that's
what it's for. And I like it because it's plant medicine, like it's from the earth, and it's more natural than, you know, some other substances that are, you know, created by humans. But I like it because it's natural. But like you said, like if you're not ready to be pushed into that mind state and know how to navigate through it, I would not suggest it, because it's like once you're in it, you're in it.
mm,
Yeah.
that's far gone for me. I can't do it. I have no problem with other people doing it. Enjoy your time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do you. But me can't take it. Me can't. Mm-mm.
Yes.
I'll stick to
Very intense.
my routine.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's all different types of ways to use that as a healing modality. Like I was looking at these like shroom retreats that they have now, that they have guides that, you know, sit with everybody who's going through that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so it's the first time I experienced it, I did not have a guide at all. So it was just a very, like a huge burst of intense emotions that I've been holding on to since high school that I didn't realize was like affecting my life and all my relationships. And it just like came out and I just cried for 3 hours straight. I yelled at my parents. I've like never done that. And it was just like, it was, yeah, it was just an emotional release that I guess needed to happen. And everything that I had pent up and pushed down just like burst to the surface. And I was like, what
Wow.
the F is going on? And
Wow.
I didn't realize until after that I was like, oh, okay, that's what happens. Because I didn't know a lot about it when I
Mm.
took it. Because I was with people who were like, oh, let's just take these because they're drugs
Yeah,
and you want to
but
like,
and that's what we were just talking about because you weren't doing with the purpose of healing.
right. It wasn't intentional at
It
all.
was intentional, and
Right.
that tear that up. Oops.
Oh no, we fell. Yeah.
Yes, but we discussed so many healing modalities. We talked about your journey. We spoke about your powerful rising ritual, which I love, which includes like breath work and movement and reading and meditation and journaling and using journal prompts. And there's so many different tools and healing um, journeys that we can call upon, right? And we're specifically speaking about Black women in this particular moment, just to know that you have many, many different routes and avenues that you can go to. So if you don't feel called to a particular healing space or tool or tactic, that is okay. There's at least 500 other things that you can do to be supportive in your particular journey. Not all of us are the same. Not all of us are going to feel connected and called to the same things. And so knowing that you have options, which is what I do as a doula anyway, just teaching people that like, hey, no, you have massive options. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that is very profound and impactful for us to know that we can go down many journeys in order to continue to find ourselves, because that's what healing is going to do anyway. It's just continuing to allow versions of us to unfold.
Yeah.
And
And don't feel overwhelmed by all these modalities either. Pick one that you feel calls to you and try that one. You know, if it doesn't work, try another one. It's just like going in and trying on different outfits and seeing what feels good to you, you know?
exactly, exactly. And don't, I think, actually, I want to mention this for sure. Oftentimes people think that when we're on a healing journey, we have to throw a whole bunch of money at things. That is not what this healing work is about, right? You don't have to be like, I need to go on a $5,000 retreat in Bali somewhere. I need to take, all of these meditation classes and trainings. I need to do whatever it is that
That's funny because that was actually me. I was like, I need to buy all these courses.
yeah,
Do
you
this,
went
do
ham.
that.
You and another friend of mine just like go ham on the courses. I was like, child, you do not need to be spending all this money. But
Yo, my friend was like, are you in school again? But like overloading yourself. And I was like, yep, I gotta heal. I gotta do this healing. And I was like all in it. Yeah.
yeah,
It's too much and it's not
it's
necessary.
not effective, and you won't be able to retain all of the information that they're giving to you. Take time. So
Slow down. Take
slow
time.
down.
Otherwise
So
it can be very overwhelming.
very
And then
over
you get confused and then you try to
value.
back out and then you tend to back out of it. Not continue.
Exactly. Exactly. You won't get the full value of all the things, and then you can say like 5 years later, "Oh yeah, I studied so and so," but did no, you read something, not you, but people in general, and that is different. And so that's what I want to advise people about this healing journey. We
Yeah.
really do.
And we breathe past that. But like take your time. That's
Mhm.
one of the biggest things that I didn't realize at first. It was like it's going to happen, but you need to take your time and not push and rush the process. It's just like, I think about it all the time, especially being out here around all this nature. I'm literally looking at a mountain right now. But it's just like, take your time. Like everything in nature happens, but there's no rush. Yet
Mm-hmm.
everything gets done. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, take your time. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
like to remind myself of that. I'm like, I don't need to push. I don't need to, like you were even saying, I need to go out and search for this. Like, you don't need to search for it. Just
Yeah.
be intentional and it will come to you. Don't feel like you
Exactly.
need to go and do this course or do this program or buy this or go on this retreat and like overwhelm yourself with all these things.
Mm-mm.
Just breathe, take your time, let it come to you. Just set your intention of what you want to do and it'll find its way to you.
Yeah. And healing was occurring before capitalism. Okay. So,
Long before. Yeah.
so, go inward before you go external.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Let me see if I can show you the mountains. You see it up there?
Yes. Oh, wow.
That's a mountain right there. That's like part of it.
I
Yeah.
love it. Well, beautiful. Thank you for taking this time to talk about your beautiful journey with healing. And yeah, let's do this
My
again.
pleasure. Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having me. I was honored that you asked me.
Of course.
And then one more thing I would say is just community. Like being in community has been so healing. And
Yes.
like just having people like you in my life has been so, 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 so very healing and eye opening and heart opening, and just connecting, because we're all reflections of each other. So being able to see such beauty in you allows me to open up to the beauty that's in me. So
Uh,
thank you for that.
you're always my
Thank you for that.
safe spaces for each other, and I adore that. And so I can talk about anything, and so I appreciate it. Everybody who sees me, I do a lot of work with a lot of people, right? That can be draining, and so my counsel is very, very important to me. And so the folks, the men and the women that I keep around me, they are like this to me
I
because
love that.
yeah, make it if if I don't have um, my guides, and you all are my guides. So thank you.
Yeah, love that. It's so healing to have people who can make that space for you. Um, yeah, and there's so much that goes into that I'm learning about. It's just like when you want someone to provide that space for you, just asking like, do you have the capacity in this space for me to share what I'm going through, share my experience?
Exactly.
Because there's so many times where you want to share and then it's not received well,
Mm,
and then you tend to close off a little bit more. So it's just a way to stay open so that you are able to be in spaces that feel safe, because a lot of us don't grow up feeling safe, or in spaces of safety. So just making sure that your community is a space of safety. So
exactly.
that's why our work is so important. Like you creating this safe space for people who are bringing life into the world. And also in yoga, like creating safe space for all types of bodies to show up and
Hmm.
connect with themselves and know that what they're doing is right, and just remind them that you're in the right place at the right time. Just take your time, take it slow, just, pay attention to what's going on with you.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Well, give thanks. Thank you so much. I have another meeting to hop on, but this is lovely, lovely, lovely. And I will put the replay, yes, on my
Namaste.
Instagram. The light in me sees the light in you.
Yes.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you, boo boo. So, see ya. Have a good day, y'all.
Bye.